So in this video, I'm going to try to show an issue that occurs, and I'm going to also talk about how to better improve the jumping animation that we ended up with class at the end of the videos in class last time. So here is an example. I have a picture of my animation sort of state diagram. Here's my player. I'm going to see, it's going to take me a second. I'm going to see if I can cause the problem that I have noticed. So I'm going to hit run here. And it takes me a little bit of sort of spamming on the jump to get it to occur. It's a timing thing, so it's not always easy. There it is. So I have a bunch of debug messages over here, and you'll see the trying to jump little message. And this is me setting the isJump animation to true. So she's doing the isJump animation. But you'll notice me setting this and the controller actually doing the jump is not happening. So I'm stuck in this animation at this point, and you'll see up here player jump continues. And the reason this happens for me is I have turned off the has exit time on player jump to try to make the player jump better. So this is an issue for me, and I keep getting this. And I know we saw some of this even when it timed out. Yet in the video, if you try yours, you could get it to start the animation. It would time out, so it wouldn't be stuck forever. But you would still sort of get this weird animation where you were looking like you were jumping but not leaving the ground. All right, so let me turn that off. So the quick fix for me is to go into your player, and then in the rigid body, and then where it says collision detection and it says discrete, I'm going to change that continuous. And what that does, it does a better job of collision detection, does it more frequently, and doesn't allow sort of this weird scenario. What I think was happening is I was moving below the surface of the ground just for a small amount of time because the collision detection was coming late. And I'm going to try to make it happen again, but I think I was going below the ground, and then it would reset you back up to the top above the ground. And in that small amount of time, I could sort of generate the issue that was coming. And I haven't been able to do that here. Doesn't mean I can't. But I sort of spamming right as I hit the ground seems to work. The other thing I've done here is you'll notice that I sort of stay in my animation longer. So like the jump from the higher platform to the lower platform goes further, and you'll notice I don't come out of the animation. And I'm going to show you my settings for everything so that you can kind of follow it if you like, and I'll show you the code, also make code changes to make all this work. All right, so first of all, let's take a look at the transitions. The first one is from any state to player jump. And you'll notice I turned off has exit timing if it was there before. I still have a 0 duration. And I do have an interruption source called the next state. You probably can get away with nothing there, but that's what I have, and that seemed to work. This one's important because this is your transition to your jump. All right, then the transitions from the jump, there's two of them, one to idle and one to run, and they should kind of mimic each other. So idle, I turned off has exit time, no interruption state, 0, 0, and this works nicely. And then finally here, same thing, no has exit time, interruption source is none, and off we go. So the rest of them are transitions between different states. So really the key was this first one, and you should try the next state and see if that works for you. And I unchecked the can transition to down here. So you can try to set those. Let me show you the code. So I also changed the code a little bit in player movement. And the reason is with a lot of debugging, I noticed that my on landing, this is the event function that gets called when you're on land, on landing was getting called twice for every one jump. So when you would hit jump, we would tell the character controller 2D to make the character jump. And then we would do a ground check before we left the ground. And the ground check ends up calling on landing and say, hey, you're on land. Well, yeah, because we haven't left far enough above the ground yet. And then when you fly up in the air and then fall back down to the ground, when you hit the second time, then you get another call to on landing. So you get a call to on landing at the start of the jump, and you get a call to on landing at the end of the jump. So I'm going to take advantage of that. So down here, you can ignore a lot of the debug messages, but they were helping me figuring out what was going on. So down here in my fixed update, I say if I think I'm doing a jump, okay, and the animator thinks I'm jumping, and notice I'm using get bool instead of set bool. This just gets the value of is jumping. So if is jumping is true, and I'm trying to do a jump, then this is really me trying to do a double jump. And if that's the case, then I'm just going to ignore it by setting start jump to false. Essentially, I don't want to tell the controller.move to do a jump when I'm already in the air. So this is a double jump. Okay. I also have this little message down here just to get the debug. So you can kind of ignore that. It's just for debugging. But this sort of takes care of trying to do double jumps, which generally may be solved anyway. But you can kind of think about how you could add double jumps if you wanted to. Now, more interesting is the on landing. So as I was mentioning, on landing gets called twice, once at the beginning of the jump and once at the end of the jump. So before down here, after controller, we used to set our variable, whatever we called it. I think I called it jump, and I changed it to start jump. We set that to false right after the move. What I do is I write a little if statement on landing, so I know which one of the two calls to on landing per jump I'm getting. So if it's the first one, then start jump is still true. And that's why I say, and that sets my animator to start. And then it sets start jump to false. Because this is not a, while I'm jumping variable, it's just saying, hey, you're going to start jump. So at this point, I've started jumping. I've told the controller to jump. On landing got called because I'm still on the ground. My animator starts. Okay. Otherwise, so else, this is the second call to on landing, so I hit the ground. Then I want to stop my animator. So here's the setting is jump to false, or is jumping to false. And that's sort of the main thing there. And that gets you really nice sort of jumping without some of the artifacts we were seeing before. And I think probably the biggest thing that I was kind of wished to solve was this long jump, especially when you're jumping down, because what was happening before is I would do the jump and about 3/4 of the way it would go into idle pose because it would time out. That's because I had that has exit time checked, and so it would just run until it exited. But here it holds, it kind of just holds the jump. So you'll notice on the way down she does a little leg kick at the end, and that's sort of the final bit of the jump. On the way up, she doesn't do the leg kick because she doesn't have to jump as far or as long. And so this will get a nice little clear. And I notice I'm not popping into my idle right away. All right, so that's my video. I hope that helps you. Let me know if you have any questions. See ya.